Hello, and welcome back to the Strong Body, Strong Mind, Balanced Life podcast. This is part of the Healthy Mindset Reset series. My name is Heather, and today we're talking about something that doesn't get enough credit as a wellness practice, and that is saying no. So, today, for your Healthy Mindset Reset, we're going to talk about the power of no and setting boundaries as a form of strength. It's not negative. It's not rude. It's not selfish. It's a boundary, and a powerful one at that. And today I want to walk you through how saying no can actually become one of the strongest, most life-giving things you do for your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. If you're someone like how I used to be, someone who overcommits, feels stretched thin, or struggles with guilt after turning someone down, this episode is for you. And I have 100% been there. It is something that I constantly need to keep in check because I do tend to overcommit myself. I like to do all the things. I like to be busy. I like to have things that I'm working on, and I like to go do things. So, it's certainly something that I'm paying attention to in my life. And so I want to talk about that power of saying no. And if you've listened to some of my other Healthy Mindset Reset podcast episodes, part of this sub-series, I talk a lot. One of the specific examples I give is like, just go through your calendar for this week and find something you can say no to. Find something you can just take off your calendar. Okay. And so this is kind of what we're talking about here. So let's talk about what it is that you're really saying yes to. So when we say yes to everything and everyone, we're not just filling our calendars, but we're also draining our energy. All right. So saying yes all the time, it might look like generosity, but without boundaries, it can quickly turn into burnout. And when you're burnt out, you're no good to anyone. You're not your work, not your family, and definitely not yourself. I remember years ago, over a decade ago, when I was in grad school and trying to work full time and trying to have a social life and trying to keep my house clean and, eat healthy and trying to do everything. And I remember, like, when my classes would finish, I usually had about 3 weeks in between classes. And those 3 weeks, I was just so burnt out. I didn't want to do anything. I literally sat on the couch and just got caught up on the TV shows that I missed, and that's no way to live. That's no way to live with your time. And you need to be better about protecting your time. I needed to be better about protecting my time. So saying no is really about saying yes. So you're saying yes to your peace, your priorities, your physical and mental energy. It's about reclaiming your time for things that matter most. And looking back when I was in that phase of life, like, there's plenty of stuff I should have said no to. The priority was working so I could pay my bills and then getting my degree. That was what was the priority. And so everything that didn't really align with that outside of, family responsibilities, I should have said no to. And I wasn't. I was saying yes to all the things. And as a result, I was saying no to my peace, to my priorities, to my physical and mental energy. So when we say no, we're saying yes to those things. Okay. So yoga teaches us about brahmacharya. It's one of the yamas, which is often interpreted as the wise use of energy. Okay. Boundaries are a form of brahmacharya in action. So this is one way that we can bring yoga philosophy into our life, bringing yoga off the mat. Stillness creates a space for us to listen. All right. So this month's theme is finding strength in stillness. If you've been listening to my podcast episodes that I've released over the last couple of weeks, or even if you've been attending my yoga classes, this is the theme that we're talking about this month. So finding strength in stillness helps us to create that space to listen. Just listen to yourself, okay? So how do we know what to say no to? We start by listening inward. We start by listening to ourselves, listening to our body, listening to our mind, listening to our energy, paying attention to our energy. By listening inward, that requires stillness, all right? Stillness helps us to slow down enough to ask, what is fueling me? What is draining me? Am I doing this out of alignment or obligation? Yoga teaches us to observe without judgment. In moments of stillness, our breath in our body, on our mat, off of our mat, we learn how to listen. This is where clarity lives. And from that clarity, we can make empowered decisions. We can make informed decisions. And this includes the empowered and informed decision to say no. So the strength in saying no, where does that strength come from? So saying no doesn't mean that you're rigid. It means that you're resourced. It means that you're choosing presence over pressure. You're choosing strength over scattered energy. And I get it. I get it. You're sitting here saying, Heather, I can't say no. I can't say no to all these things. Saying no isn't always easy, especially if you're a people pleaser or a caretaker. You have obligations. You have people relying on you. But remember, there are things that we're probably saying yes to that we don't need to. So every time that you say no to something that's not aligned and not aligned with your priorities and the things that you want of your life, you're saying yes to something that is your peace, your focus, your ability to show up as your best self. So while you might not be able to say no to everything, and you certainly can't, you're an adult and you have responsibilities. You have people counting on you for things. But think about the things that you can say no to. Saying no with kindness and confidence takes practice. And like yoga, it gets easier with time, breath, and repetition. So let's talk about the healthy mindset reset practice then for this week. So thinking about how to say no to things that aren't in alignment with what your responsibilities are, your priorities are, and your goals. So notice when you say yes automatically. All right. Oftentimes, sometimes it's very easy to just, somebody asks us to do something and the immediate response is, yes, I'll do that. Okay. Without taking into consideration, is this aligned with what I need to be doing right now? Or am I saying yes out of guilt or that sense of obligation, even though I'm not obliged to say yes? So take 10 seconds before answering next time. If you're one of those people that just automatically says yes, take 10 seconds or even say something like, I'll get back to you, so that you can have a moment to kind of recollect yourself. Write down one thing you want to protect more in your week. All right, what is one thing you want to protect more in your week? Your time, your energy, your sleep, your workout. What do you need to start saying no to in order to protect it? What are those priorities for you? If you've looked at my balance method for a healthy lifestyle, we've got 7 different steps in there on implementing things to implement for your healthy lifestyle. You don't need to do them in order. We pick one, make it become a healthy habit in our life. As soon as we feel good about that one, we move on and add the next one. Okay. So when you're thinking about, I'm adding in healthy habits into my life, what is the one thing that I want to work on this week? If my one thing I want to work on this week is making sure that I'm getting enough sleep, that might mean I need to go to bed a little bit earlier. So I'm saying no to sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Okay. Because I'm saying yes to my priority and my priority is sleep there. Okay. So think about the one thing that you want to protect more in your week. And if you are interested in learning more about my balance framework, about my balance method for healthy lifestyle, I've got a YouTube video on my YouTube channel explaining what that method is. And again, it's 7 steps of just the things that we need to think about as part of our healthy lifestyle. Okay. I will make a separate podcast episode about that framework though. And repeat this intention daily. Just say to yourself, saying no is how I protect my peace and create space for what truly matters. All right. So just say that to yourself. What I like to do, I like to take Post-it notes and write an intention, write an affirmation, write my goals, whatever it might be, the things that I'm focusing on in my life. I like to write it on a Post-it note and put it on my bathroom mirror. All right. I'm guaranteed to see it at least twice a day, brushing my teeth in the morning and brushing my teeth at night. Right. So I'm guaranteed to see it at least twice a day. You could put it on your refrigerator. You could put Post-it notes on your desk, wherever. But that's what I like to do. I like to have those intentions, affirmations, goals, the things that I'm paying focused attention to right there in front of me. All right. So that might be one strategy that you might try. So that's your healthy mindset reset, the power of no. It's a boundary, a strength, a radical act of self-respect. So let this week be the practice that you let this be the week you practice saying no with grace, not from a place of resistance, but from reverence. So if this episode helped you, I love for you to share it with a friend who might need a gentle reminder that it's okay to say no. And if you want to explore more tools like this, check out my upcoming workshops or join me for a Wednesday morning yoga class. Everything is over at sorellawellness.co, SORELLA wellness.co. And my entire schedule's there of all my upcoming workshops. You can take a yoga class with me, all sorts of good stuff. So check it out. Thank you for being here. Until next time, stay strong, stay grounded, and remember that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say no.